When an empire conquered a city, the war did not end with silence. For many women, it was the moment their lives stopped belonging to them. Victory did not mean peace. It meant erasure, not of buildings, not of armies, but of identity. History often teaches conquest through maps and dates. Borders move, crowns change hands, new rulers rise. But beneath those clean lines on paper, there was another reality, quiet, systematic, and deliberately hidden. This story is not about battles or sultans. It is about what happened after the flags were raised, about the women who survived conquest only to lose everything that made them human in the eyes of the state, not through chaos, not through random cruelty, but through order. What makes this history unsettling is not only the suffering itself, but how calmly it was organized, justified, and recorded. This is a story of power exercised not just through force, but through law, ritual, and bureaucracy. And once you understand that, you realize the conquest never truly ended. The moment after defeat, when Ottoman armies captured a city, the aftermath followed a pattern refined over centuries. The fighting stopped, but the process began. Communities were sorted. Men were separated from women. Families were dismantled in minutes. For women, especially the wives of defeated soldiers, officials did not see survivors. They saw assets. There was nothing spontaneous about what followed. The empire had rules for it, categories, procedures. Captured women were classified under legal definitions that stripped them of personal status. Their previous lives, their marriages, their names, their social position ceased to exist in any meaningful way. From that moment on, their fate was no longer personal. It was administrative. From person to property, the most devastating transformation was not physical, it was conceptual. A woman ceased to be someone. She became something. Imperial agents assessed captives with cold efficiency, age, health, perceived usefulness. These details mattered more than origin or history. Records were kept. Decisions were made. Destinations were assigned. Some were sent to households, some to labor, some to institutions reserved for women taken from across the empire. What mattered was not who they were, but how they could be used. This was not hidden behavior. It was regulated, taxed, documented, and because it was lawful, it became invisible to later storytellers who preferred to speak of architecture, trade, and administration rather than the cost paid by human lives. The journey into disappearance survival did not mean safety. The journey itself erased the last remnants of dignity. Women were moved across regions, away from language, family, and familiarity. Distance was not incidental, it was strategic. The farther a woman was taken from her origin, the less likely she was to resist, escape, or be recognized. By the time many reached imperial centers, they no longer belonged anywhere. They were strangers even to themselves, and when they arrived, the empire did not hide them. Markets without shame. Slave markets in the Ottoman world were not criminal back alleys. They were public, legal spaces. Women stood exposed not just to buyers, but to the full authority of the state. Their skills were evaluated, their obedience tested, their future decided in moments. Behind the scenes, clerks recorded everything. Not emotions, not trauma, only numbers. The humiliation was structural. It served a purpose. A person who is publicly stripped of dignity is easier to control. A community that witnesses this learns the price of resistance. The myth of the harem. Few institutions are more misunderstood. Later imagination painted the imperial harem as a place of luxury and intrigue. The reality was far more suffocating. It was not freedom. It was confinement. Women taken into these spaces were cut off from the world completely. Language was replaced. Names were reassigned. Belief systems were enforced through pressure rather than conviction. Compliance meant survival. Resistance meant isolation. The most damaging effect was psychological. Constant competition, uncertainty. The knowledge that favor could mean protection and rejection could mean disappearance.